have an 0 for 1100, and you'd still have a 300 lifetime average. That's what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about. When pitchers would be asked, how do you pitch to Tony Gwynn? And they use the old line by the Boston Red Sox, Frank Sullivan, pitching Mickey Mantle. But they would ask, how do you pitch to Tony Gwynn? With tears in my eyes. That's it. But he stayed here. It was never about the money. It was about you folks. It was about you folks. And you and I both know he could have made about 5 times more money as a free agent. He was never about the money. And the next speaker, by the way, knows this because he negotiated for him, but he was more than an agent to him. He was a best friend to him. Here is John Barnes, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Ted, and good evening. I had the distinct privilege of representing a great man, Tony Gwynn, for close to 30 years. It has been incredibly difficult, first of all, speaking tonight, but since Tony passed away, it's been a fine balance between mourning the loss of Tony and celebrating his life. Alicia, Anthony, Mrs. Gwynn, Charles, and Chris, our hearts and prayers go out to you. Tony loved you so much. The entire Gwynn family. I can't imagine the loss you feel at this time, but I do know your family and friends and this entire community are here for you. Tony was a very humble man, and he wasn't big on ceremonies, especially ceremonies that were about him. But I know he's looking down this evening on all of us here at Petco, and I'm sure he's very grateful for this outpouring of love. I can also imagine Tony seeing and saying to himself, looking at me at this microphone, I should keep it short. So with that, I'd like to attempt the impossible to talk about Tony in a brief period of time. He was an incredible friend. He was a definition of friend. In life, there are a lot of acquaintances, but very few true friends. I was blessed to experience that friendship with Tony. He touched so many people, and I was just lucky to be one of them. I met him in the early 80s working for Garvey Marketing Group, and that turned into a day that changed my life when Tony and Alicia came to my office and asked if I would be Tony's agent. It was the fastest yes that ever crossed my lips. A dream come true and incredible. And that privilege created so many memories. And I'm not just talking about the APAC titles, the Hall of Fame, the All-Star Game. No, I'm talking about being around Tony Gwynn, the man, the person. He was so much better than the statistics he accumulated. I smile and remember how he loved to set me up. We'd do an appearance and the fans would line up to get his autograph. He'd turn to me and say, all right, Boxing, one autograph per person, right? I said, absolutely. And sure enough, the line would start, and there'd be a little boy that came up and put 3 balls down, and I had to tell him, only 1 autograph per person. And Tony would look at the little boy, and then he'd look at me, and he said, don't listen to him, he's not in charge. Sign whatever you got. Then he'd smile, and he'd give you that great laugh. Ask, did he have a great laugh? Then there was his work ethic. He'd go 4 for 4 and yet not be really happy with his performance because his swing didn't feel right. Then he'd go 0 for 4 and I'd say, tough game, T. And he'd go, no, I hit the ball every time on the screws. I'm locked in. There was also the memory of Tony and Ted Williams together in the first interview they did together. And I've never seen Tony so energized and excited as two of the greatest hitters exchange baseball knowledge. Ted peppered Tony with every question, and Tony answered every one of them absolutely to the T. And Ted would say, correct on every one. It was truly a memorable baseball moment that I know Tony cherished, and I was just lucky to be a fly on the wall. And obviously, Tony's humility. Waiting for that Hall of Fame call, I could not believe how nervous he was. With all his accomplishments, I said, Tony, this is a slam dunk. And he just smiled and looked at me and said, hey, you never know. That was Tony. He never took anything for granted. Tony, thank you for your incredible loyalty, for all the memories, and one of the truest friendships anyone can wish for. I can tell you during Tony's career, there were many teams that would have loved to have him in their lineup. But he would say, I'm not going anywhere. This is where I belong, and San Diego is home. To the fans, he loved you and appreciated you more than I can convey into words. He loved the city of San Diego. He loved being an Aztec, and he most definitely loved being a Padre. He was, and always will be, Mr. Padre.